Protesters converged near the White House, calling for nonviolent demonstrations. Reporting from Washington, D.C., here's Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot.
Justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
It's June 1st, Monday afternoon, and we are in front of the White House where a crowd of people have just gathered to protest, to continue protesting against racism and police violence. This has been third or fourth day of protesting after the fatal arrest of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has activated a two-day 7 p.m. curfew starting Monday, following consecutive nights of violent protests here in the nation's capital. We've seen earlier establishments here in downtown D.C. are boarding up storefronts, perhaps in anticipation of more rioting after violent incidents occurred the past nights.
I'm here because I believe Black Lives Matter, and we got to get our voices heard. And it's important that we do it peacefully, because violence is the issue, is that we keep colliding. We just need to get our voice heard, but we don't need to use violence. People who want to get violent coming out at the right time to get violent, and they just happen to find the right message. Just because, you know, a group will get pretty big and they'll be able to get the message, but then they'll get big or bigger, and you can't keep up. And then anyone can just slip in and do something, and all it takes is one to get everybody riled up. And I think that's what keeps happening, is, you know, but it's tough. Big crowds are very hard to keep that from happening. My message to them is that you should be peaceful first and never swing first, because you don't need to do that. If the message is true, then you have to be better than that. That's just the truth. You can't swing first. It doesn't make sense, because if they're attacking you, but you need to protest and you swing at them first, that gives them a reason to swing back. That keeps the fight going. What is it? An eye for an eye. And it'll just keep going, and it'll keep fighting. So we got to stop it right here at the White House.
To support my fellow citizens in hopes that we have humanity and justice for everyone equal in this country at some point.
Your placard says silence is complicity.
Yes. I think people like myself are born to some amount of privilege, no matter how hard we work and stuff. And I believe that we need to speak up and stand with all of our citizens. Just being quiet and going about being a good person is not enough. That's the silence. That's sad. I'm sorry so many people have so much rage in their thoughts, and I will do what I can to make this country a place where people don't have to get so upset. These are wonderful people out here. Come stand with your fellow citizens. You won't be disappointed.
I got mixed feelings about that. As far as violence-wise, no one should be getting hurt. But sometimes you have to, outside of someone getting hurt, sometimes you have to make a stance so people can really hear your voice. And unfortunately, that's what it has to take sometimes.
These protests call for justice after the fatal arrest, like I said, of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, May 25. You can hear the crowd behind me chanting, Black Lives Matter, I can't breathe, just some of the sentiments that they would want to get across after the incident in Minneapolis.
I'm here because between the fear of COVID and the fear of watching my loved ones or myself die by the hands of police, this one outweighed it. I mean, I'm a runner. I've run 9 marathons. I have a lot of friends who are runners. I'm so sick and tired of waking up and just something just not happening. And I drove all the way down here for about an hour and a half away because I just felt I woke up this morning and felt I really needed to be here. I think what people need to remember is that violence most of it is not representative of what many of us are here. And the people who it does represent, I mean, you also have to understand that these are people who have tried so many times to be peaceful, have tried to kneel, have tried to do other things. People have lost their jobs. And so even though I don't agree with it, I understand that pent-up frustration and feeling like so hopeless to the point where, they felt it necessary to be a little bit more violent.
Some say people are out here and so on edge because of being locked down for how many weeks? What are your thoughts about that?
I think as a black woman in America, I've been frustrated for the past 31 years. I've been feeling like I've lived in many areas of this country. I've lived in the South. I've lived in the West. I've even lived in Hawaii, and I've seen it all the time everywhere I go, and I'm just so frustrated. I've been frustrated, and COVID had nothing to do with it for me. I put "I Can't Breathe," George Floyd's last words, and unfortunately, it's the last words of many black men in America by the hands of police.
These protests that turned into riots have erupted across the United States, adding to the tension and anxiety already experienced by people due to the pandemic. In Washington, D.C., Eliza Gonzalez, Manglikmot, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.